Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to attach our switch wires to our actual switch. Okay, now you've got to pay attention here, because the way the switch works is, if you have a look at these 6 little tabs on here, they're split up into 3 groups of 2. 1, 2, 3. So what I want you to do is ignore one side of it, because they basically do the same thing on either side. When the switch gets pushed to the left, okay, or to your right on the screen, it connects that middle one and that one together. And when I push it the other way, it disconnects that one and connects the middle one to that one there. So, what that means, when you solder it, you have to solder one of your wires into these middle ones and one into one side. Doesn't matter which side you solder it to, but you've got to have a middle one and one of the sides, okay, to be able to switch it on and off. It is a little bit tricky to feed it through these holes because they are quite small. Just remember that you're doing the switch wire. If you're not sure, consult your diagram, check that it's the right one, and feed it. I would first do the middle one. As I say, it is a little bit tricky because these holes are very, very small. What you can do is you can actually feed it through both of those. And if you have a look through there, I've actually fed it through both of those middle ones. What you don't want it to do is to touch either ones on either side. So once you've done that, this is probably the trickiest part to solder, because you've got to be very careful. Soldering iron, and see if you can solder it in place on that switch. Don't need to use a lot of solder here, and that's one of the wires soldered in place. I get my other switch wire and I'll put it in on the other side. Didn't go in very well then. And carefully solder that in place there. Okay, that looks pretty good. When you've done that, just cut off your excess wire. And that means our switch should work. So what we can do is we can actually test that now to make sure our switch works properly. We tested it before with the circuit. We'll just grab a battery, put it on there. We've got our wand wire and our squiggly wire. Okay, we switch our switch on, and hopefully that will work. Fingers crossed. Nothing's happening. Something's gone wrong. I better go check this. Okay, let's switch it off, Audrey. Okay, so lucky we tested it, because what I found was that my switch didn't work when I pushed it on this side over here. And the reason it didn't work is because I didn't actually make my slot here wide enough. And when I was pushing my switch over to the left there, it didn't go all the way. So lucky I tested it, okay? What I've done to solve the problem is I've moved my other wire to this side. So I've got one in the middle, one on the side there. I switch it on, I grab my wand wire and my squiggly wire, and I test it again. And it works fine now, okay? So that's why we want to test it at pretty much every stage once we've put all the components into it. Okay, thank you.